Glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Hare Hare Bol.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jaya mudiraye nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtuki shunamatan swakatha krishna punya shravana kirtanah radyantasto hi abhadrani vidanoti shruhat satam. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading chapter Canto 3, Chapter 2. We started just a few days ago, 1 or 2 days ago, in reading text number 4 today. So I will recite that verse 3 times and then you please recite. Samuhurtam abhutushni krishnangri sudaya brisham tivrena bhakti yogena nibagnaha sadhu nirvrataha. Samuhurtam abhutushnim krishnangri sudaya brisham tivrena bhakti yogena nimagnaha sadhu nirvrataha. Samuhurtam abhutushnim krishnangri sudaya brisham tivrena bhakti yogena nimagnaha sadhu nirvrataha. Please recite.
Samuhurtam abhutusnim Krishnangri Sudaya Brisham Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Nimagna Sadhu Nivrita.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Samuhurtam abhutusnim Krishnangri Shudhaya Brisham Tibrena Bhakti Yogena Nimagnaha Sadhu Nirvitam Taha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Samuhurtam abhutushnim Krishnangiri Sudhaya Brisham Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Nimagna Sadhu Nirvrita. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Samurtam abhutushnim Krishnangri Sudaya Brisham Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Nimagna Sadhu Nivrita.
So I will read the word-to-word translation and purport. So, Saha Uddhava Muhurtam, for a moment, Abhut became, Tushnim, dead silent, Krishnangri, the lotus feet of the Lord, Sudhaya, by the nectar, Prisham, well matured, Tivrena, by very strong, Bhakti Yogena, devotional service, Nimagnaha, absorbed in, Sadhu, good, Nivrataha, fully in love. Translation. For a moment, he remained dead silent, and his body did not move. He became absorbed in the nectar of remembering the Lord's lotus feet in devotional ecstasy, and he appeared to be going increasingly deeper in that ecstasy. Purport. On the inquiry by Vidur about Krishna, Uddhava appeared to be awakened from slumber he appeared to regret that he had forgotten the lotus feet of Lord. Thus he again remembered the lotus feet of the Lord and remembered all his transcendental loving service unto him. And by, by so doing, he felt the same ecstasy that he used to feel in presence of Lord. Because the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between his remembrance and his personal presence. Thus, Uddhav remained completely silent for a moment. But then he appeared to be going deeper and deeper into ecstasy. Feeling of ecstasy are displayed by highly advanced devotees of the Lord. There are 8 kinds of transcendental changes in the body: tears, shivering of the body, perspiration, restlessness, throbbing, choking of the throat, etc. And all were manifested by Uddhav in the presence of Vidurji. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurulmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurathushay Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavati Paschatya Deshatarine. So thank you very much for giving me this great opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam today. And this is very important chapter actually, because chapter is entitled Remembrance of Krishna, which is very important in our life. As long as we keep remembering Krishna all the time, that will be perfection in our devotional service. So in this translation, Prabhupada says, for a moment he remained silent, dead silent, and his body did not move. He became completely absorbed in nectar of remembering lotus feet of the Lord in devotional ecstasy. So one has to become absorbed actually, like Vidurji, not Vidurji, like Uddhavji, in front of Vidurji, because Vidurji was asking questions and he asked how Lord Krishna and Balram were doing. And he remembered all the times he spent with Krishna, and as soon as he remembered Krishna, he became so much in ecstasy, because ecstasy is a bhav which comes to very advanced devotees actually. Like if I say about myself, because I got stuck at the anartha nivratti stage, it's very hard to go above that. So all the anarthas slowly has to come out by remembering the Lord 24 hours. So that is the only process, by chanting, by reading, by hearing about Krishna. So these things are very important. There is no easy way out, because we have to remember Krishna, and by remembering Krishna's lotus feet and taking shelter of them properly, then we can actually increase. Like Prabhupada is writing, he appeared to going increasingly deeper into ecstasy. Then we can get that kind of bhav. So as we know how Vidur was inquiring about the Krishna, all the Yadus and then all the Kurus, and we already read that. So when Vidur asked these questions to Uddhavji, then Uddhav actually, he was awakened from the slumber. He looks like he awakened just because he remembered Krishna again, because he was describing different things, So it appeared to him that I'm forgetting about Krishna. So, and he was regretting about that. He appeared to regret that he had forgotten the lotus feet of Krishna. So see, the pure devotees actually do not want to even forget Krishna even for a second. So that is and that's why we know the gopis were complaining to Brahmaji that why Brahmaji made these eyelids that they can forget about Krishna, like close Krishna and not see his lotus feet, even for a second. Because eyelid, how much we close many times, but just for fraction of a second. But gopis didn't want it to miss that chance also, and they were actually cursing Brahmaji that what you did, why you have to make the eyelids. So that is the pure love for Krishna that Gopi had actually. So he appeared to regret that he had forgotten lotus feet of Krishna. Thus he again remembered the lotus feet of Lord and remembered his transcendental loving service unto him. So what services he performed, he remembered that what Leela Krishna, he remembered Krishna's different Leelas, and so all these things. And by doing so, he felt same ecstasy he was used to feel in front of Krishna. When he was in the association of Krishna, in presence of Krishna, he felt the same ecstasy. So actually Krishna is present or not, if you remember, it gives us the feeling of Krishna, that Krishna is with me. And actually Krishna is with us all the time in the form of Paramatma, no doubt about that. So if we realize that Krishna is with me, he's not away, and then we absorb in his thinking, in his remembrance, then we will have the same kind of feeling, either in his presence or not presence. So Uddhav remembered completely silent for a moment. So in this shloka, the word is written muhurtam. One muhurt is 48 minutes actually. So you can remember, you can imagine when Vidurji was asking questions and Uddhavji was not answering for 48 minutes. Somebody is talking to you and he becomes silent for 48 minutes. What happens? You will think, my God, what happened? But that because his throat was choked and he was in so much in remembrance of Krishna and having so much love for Krishna actually, then he came in the ecstasy. So at the end of this discussion, we will discuss about the how Uddhavji was remembering, and we will see so many examples from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and the Krishna book, about the different symptoms of ecstasy, because today's main topic is ecstasy and also remembering the Krishna. These two things are very, very important. Bhakti, it's a very important shloka actually. And so we should actually concentrate more different ways how we can actually absorb in the Krishna's remembrance. And that way, our focus should be remembering the Krishna's lotus feet. Because Lord is absolute and there is no difference between his remembrance and his personal presence. Thus Uddhav remained completely silent for a moment, but then he appeared to be going deeper and deeper into ecstasy. So he was going slowly, more and more deeper in ecstasy of Krishna's feeling, so different bhavas he was having, and he was coming out of one part of ecstasy and second part. So ecstasy also has different feelings actually. So he was showing different symptoms of ecstasy, and there was obviously so many changes in the body. Like Prabhupada is described, there are 8 ashta sattvic vikar. So these all the 8 things comes in the body. And that way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also showing, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya actually saw him in Jagannath Puri temple, and when he was unconscious. So he knew right away that this is a great soul and great devotee, and that's why he's showing all these symptoms, because people were thinking he's just faking, and they were trying to throw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he stopped them and he said that this is, and he took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at his home and served. He knew that this is the pure soul actually. So there are so many aesthetic symptoms like tears, shivering of the body, perspiration, restlessness, throbbing, choking of the throat, etc., etc. So these are all manifested by Uddhavji in the presence of Vidura. So we can see, it shows, this chapter entitled Remembrance of Krishna, and verses in the beginning, few verses are up to 6th verses. It shows that how Uddhavji was great devotee, how was his exalted position, because he was, we read in the first few shlokas that how he was constantly devoted to Lord Krishna. And we can see the consistency. It's not like sometime he's doing some nonsense and then again he became devotee. It's not like that. He, right from the childhood, we can see that he is a devotee, and right from childhood to his old age, because when Vidurji met him, he was already in the old age. And he showed so many aesthetic symptoms in the body to Vidurji. So we can see one time we remember, like we read the shloka yesterday or day before, that right in the childhood, when he was absorbed in the Krishna's thought, his mother called him for breakfast and he did not wish to have breakfast. So he was so absorbed right from the childhood. It's not like he became devotee later on. So most of the great souls actually right from the childhood, they must have performed some lot of austerity and devotion in the previous life. And those kind of people, when they are born again in this material world, but they are devotees right from the beginning, we can see the example of many, many devotees who right from the childhood, they are performing great leelas, and we can imagine, how at age 6 or 7, they can start giving the classes and all those things. So it comes from their previous good, like devotional service. So when Uddhavji actually inquired about his dear friend Krishna, then he could not reply due to excessive anxiety, because he got so much anxious about in the thought of Krishna, at remembrance of Krishna. And as we know that there is no satiation in the transcendental service. When we perform transcendental service, there should be no satisfaction, because we should be greedy all the time for chanting. We should be greedy all the time for hearing more. We should be greedy for reading more and more Prabhupada's books. So there should not be any satisfaction that now I am doing very great service. And if we think that way, then we cannot advance anymore. So we can see that Uddhavji's devotion did not even slack in the olden age. Actually, in the olden age, the devotion should increase more and more. Our reading should increase more and more. Our chanting should increase more and more. That's when we are retired. We are retired from the material things, material duties and all those things, family duties. But we should actually advance in the bhakti, because there is no retirement for bhakti, because bhakti is done by the soul actually. Bhakti is not done by the body. Bhakti comes from the soul. And all the other things, earning money and taking care of family, these all the bodily things, So that should be actually curtailed in the older age. And the bhakti should be increased more and more from our heart. So we can see that Uddhavji remained silent for a muhurta. Muhurta is 48 minutes. So he was not talking at all, because it was one of the ecstatic symptom, and he appeared increasing as he became submerged. So he was coming out in the ecstasy and going in again, coming out and going in again. So it was having, that's why the word used submerged, nimagna, in the sweetness of Krishna's lotus feet, in separation. So he was feeling himself separated from Krishna when he comes out, but he again goes in ecstasy. So it was going back and forth. And Vidurji was noticing that, because Vidurji knew that these are the signs of his great devotional service. So we will discuss today two main things: what is the importance of getting absorbed in Krishna's remembrance and absorbed in the lotus feet of Krishna. And other thing we will discuss little bit about aesthetic symptoms, and the study few examples from Krishna book and Srimad Bhagavatam. So we will really enjoy those pastimes of Krishna in different aesthetic symptoms, and that bhava stage is really very important. If somebody can bhava, he is very close to the pure love of Krishna. It's a very few devotees actually who are pure hearted, who can achieve that. But at least we should know those things, so we have the goal where we have to reach. Otherwise, you say, "Oh my God, I cannot go to that stage, ecstatic stage. So why to know about it, But that's not the way. If we know what is the way to go and what is the importance of doing that, then we will have goal to achieve Krishna Prem. Otherwise, it's very hard. So the idea of being absorbed in the thought of Krishna's lotus feet is most beneficial thinking actually. Otherwise, if you don't think, how we will achieve that. So the spiritual wisdom, thinking about spiritual wisdom or pure consciousness are believed to be support. It is the support of the soul. It is a great thing. It gives great support to our soul to observe in the thought of Krishna's lotus feet. Because lotus feet, we know that lotus feet is the symbol of purity and also self-realization. We can see Mother Lakshmi. We see her photo as she's either standing or sitting on a lotus flower. We have seen that photo many, many times, how Lakshmi ji is being shown. And she is holding two lotus flowers in her hand. So lotus is actually sign of purity. So Krishna's all the parts of the body, we know his lotus feet, his lotus face, lotus eyes, everything in the body of Krishna is compared to the lotus. So we have to remember get fully absorbed in the thought of Krishna's lotus feet. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that your two lotus feet are so beautiful that they appear like two blossoming petals of lotus flower, which grow during the autumn season. Autumn season, the lotus flower is very big and very, very beautiful. Indeed, the nails of your lotus feet, which emanates such great effulgence that they immediately dissipate all the darkness in the heart of the conditioned souls. So my soul is conditioned. So actually, Krishna is like sun, so which can dissipate. When sun comes out, dissipates all the darkness from everywhere. Everywhere there is big, great light. Like today morning, we can see, how sun is coming and how lighted everything is. And it makes every conditioned soul happy. So Krishna's remembrance is also like that. So when we remember every unauspicious thing from our life goes away completely. It dissipates all kind of darkness in the heart of a devotee. My dear Lord, you are the supreme spiritual master of everyone. Therefore, all conditioned souls covered with the darkness of ignorance can be enlightened by you as spiritual master. So Krishna is Adi Guru in the form of Baldevji. So if you remember lotus feet of Krishna, all our darkness will go away. So meditating on the lotus feet will help cut off the mountain of karmic reactions of one's past sins. And they set them free from all the grudges that hold them. So actually we have so much grudges in our heart. And so because of all our karmic reactions, all our sins. So actually when we meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna, all those grudges goes away. And which people they go away? For those who hold the feet of Krishna, they become superior, just like Lord Indra, whose weapon is Vraja. Like we know how proud was Indra, and when he saw Krishna lifting Govardhan hill, then immediately all his pride went away, and then he got enlightened and he prayed to Krishna, and he became. So Krishna actually broke his pride like that. So this is like a sign of advanced devotee that if we think that we can think about Krishna more and more, and we take shelter under the lotus feet of Lord, then we can throw away all material miseries without any difficulty. And like we see the impersonalist, they sometimes artificially think that that they are liberated, becoming liberated without accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. But that is not possible, because that way they will be sure to fall again to the material existence from such false liberation. In Srimad Bhagavatam, like we are going to read the fifth chapter very soon. So in that, it says, in the purport Prabhupada is writing, everyone is in debt to the demigod. Because we, as soon as we take birth, we get in debt to many things, like living entities, demigods, the sadhus, the pitris, our family, and so on. But actually, if we are fully surrendered to Krishna, then all these debts are gone. We don't have to pay those debts back. Who can give one? Because we have taken full shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, then we need not to pay anything. If we renounce everything in this material world for the sake of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that way, and because the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet are the shelter for everyone. So if we take shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, then all those debts are gone. So this is the verdict of all the Shastras. And in the 6th canto, it is said that for those who have accepted the boat of lotus feet of Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmetic manifestation, and Krishna is famous as Murari because he killed the Mura demon, and he is the ocean of material world, like the water content. So what happens to those people who take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna? Their all sins goes away, and we get very little reaction life, like water contained in the calf of the hoof print. Calf's hoof print is small. Calf's footprint is very small. So that much only. So we get, even we have performed sins, but still we take the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, then our sins will go away very fast. So those people who take, we have to have a higher goal though, that is important. That's why we are discussing today about the Bhav stage. So because we have to look for the Param Padam. Param Padam is Lord's lotus feet, and that gives us the Vaikuntha, the place where there is no material miseries. Vaikuntha means Kunta means miseries, and Vaikuntha means there are no miseries at all. So we can get that Vaikuntha, which is the place where there is no danger. Because in this material world, there is padam, vibdam, natesham. So all the time there are problems. One problem goes away, other problem starts. Other problem goes away, other problem starts. So there is no end of the problem, and we all know that. So we have to know what is our clear goal actually. In the 10th chapter, 10th canto, in the 14th chapter, it is says, if the conditioned soul engages in the service of the Lord and simultaneously carries out the orders of his spiritual master and serve him seriously, then what happens? He can get out of the clutches of Maya, and he becomes eligible for shelter of the Krishna's lotus feet. So it is very important, because we have to take shelter. If we have taken shelter of the lotus feet and serve him actually from our mind, body, and soul, in that way we can actually come out of all the miseries of this material world. If you see Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Madhya Lila, it is said that one should be free from all kind of material attachment, and we should take full shelter. That's also very important. We have to take full shelter under Krishna's lotus feet, because Krishna is very kind to his devotees. If Krishna sees that we are seriously engaged in his service, then he will actually open his heart. And he is always grateful. Krishna is very grateful to his devotees, and he never forgets whatever service we perform. He remembers all the services of whatever we do for Krishna. Krishna remembers that. Because Krishna is very opulent and also very powerful, then why we should take shelter of any other person, When we can take the shelter of Krishna, we should never leave the lotus feet of Krishna and Krishna's shelter. If we all the time think that we have the shelter of Krishna, then we will not have any problems in this life. Because one time Chaitanya Charitamrita says, I read somewhere in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Radharani actually sometime felt pride within herself, and she thinks that although the cowherder boys, they prepare nice flower garland for Krishna, but then when I present my garland, then what happens? Krishna becomes struck with wonder that how beautiful garland I made, and he immediately accept and put on his heart. So this was the pride in Radharani, but Krishna broke that pride one day, and he didn't touch her garland, and then he wore garland from other people. So Krishna actually takes the care of all devotees actually. In the 10th chapter, in the 10th canto actually, and 32nd chapter, what we are reading, we will be reading this shloka very soon in the 33rd verse, which says that, dear Madhusudana, this is a prayer of Brahmaji actually, he says, dear Madhusudana, for persons who are pure devotees of your lordship, actually feel your ecstatic friendship. And as such, they are never vanquished by enemies. They know they are always protected by you. So devotees should feel that way, that I am all Krishna will, because this is one of the Sharanagati, that we should feel all the time that Krishna will protect me from everything. And if we have that kind of faith, then Krishna definitely protects, because our life is fully in the hand of Krishna. Because many times we feel that, oh, I'm doing this. Actually, it's all done by Krishna, everything. So devotee gives his life in Krishna's hand. That is the pure devotee symptom, that he doesn't believe in himself, he believes in Krishna, and have full faith in Krishna, that Krishna will give me everything. Yeah, that's why many people don't leave the house, because they think that what I'm going to eat outside. And Vidurji was also in the beginning thinking that way, but he immediately left the palace, left his ministerial position and his house, his family, everything, and he went to the pilgrimage, and where he met the Uddhavji. So if Uddhavji, so if Vidurji was thinking what I'm going to eat outside, who will feed me, and how I will go to like begging, I was so big guy. If he was thinking that thing, he will never have that all the advantage of going to pilgrimage, meeting all these Uddhavji and Maitreya Muni, and asking these all the questions, and getting that so much transcendental knowledge. So this all happened because he had full faith in Krishna. So that thing is very important. And as such, they are never vanquished by the enemies. So our lotus feet, all it vanishes everything in the life. They know they are always protected by you, and so they can, as a matter of factly, pass over to the hands of their enemies without any care. In other words, one who take completely shelter under your lotus feet is always proud of being able to conquer all the enemies. So there will be no enemies actually if we take the full shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. In nectar of devotion, we see it is given that Bhagavad Gita confirms that fact that this material world is created and annihilated perpetually, and that conditioned souls without Krishna consciousness come back again and again. So they are coming again. Same thing, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. This goes on actually in the cycle, and it is going for millions and millions of years actually. So, but to stop this thing, how we can stop that? By taking the remembrance of Krishna all the time, and taking the shelter of his lotus feet. So this is the important thing. Krishna book also in the 87th chapter says, unless we take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, Hari, so long we will be we shall be in the full of anxiety. So if we take shelter, all the anxiety will go away. Anxiety cannot bother. Unless one comes under the shelter of Krishna, one cannot be free from the anxiety. That is not possible, which is Prabhupada writing that way. That is not possible at all, that we can be free of anxiety. But once we take Krishna consciousness and come under the shelter of Krishna, definitely our all anxiety will go away. So one has to get some material desires to be fulfilled. Even if people have material desires, still they should worship Krishna and takes, because we read that Anya Abhilasita Sunyam Jnana Karma Navritam. So that way, even if we have desire, still we have to worship Krishna, because many times we feel that I have so many material desires, how I can go to Krishna, but that's not the right thinking. Right thinking, we have with desire and not desire. Worship Krishna, slowly progress in the devotional service, and that's to our full advantage actually. So at the same time, he will get shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord. If we worship Krishna, and our all the desires will be fulfilled anyway. Krishna actually fulfilled all the desires. Whenever we have pure desire, Krishna fulfills that. Like I will tell, like till yesterday I had no idea going to India. But then I had desire to go to India, because every year I go in the Kartik to in India and go to many holy dhams. I travel a lot there. So I had that desire. So Krishna suddenly arranged yesterday that, and that's why I'm going after Radha Ashtami to India. So these things suddenly happen, and I was wondering, how it happened. And then I thought, it is all Krishna's plan, Krishna's arrangement, that he arranged everything, because I had desire to go and Krishna fulfilled it. So actually Krishna fulfills desire of all the devotees. Actually, good desire, bad desire, anything. So all the time as a devotee, we should only desire good things, not the material things. If we desire material things, Krishna will give that also to the devotees, because Krishna feels obliged to all these devotee, whatever we do. So we have to be very careful about what we desire. So now we will discuss a little bit about the aesthetic law for Krishna, the bhava state. So, like Prabhupada said, that there are 8 different symptoms in the devotee who has that kind of bhava. So one is stunned, the symptom of static tribulation, fearfulness, or astonishment, lamentation, or anger. So there are different things which people have, and then like people have anger. In anger also sometimes they get stunned, sometimes in fearfulness they get stunned, they have static tribulation, they have stunned. So the different things. Then there is symptom of perspiration, sometime because of jubilation, sometime anger. So perspiration people can get in different things. And the hair standing on end, faltering of the voice, trembling, the color of the body changes completely pale. Then the tears, there is flow of tears constantly from the eyes. Like sometime, we can see those symptoms. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was coming like coming from a syringe, with big great force. And then trance, etc. So these are the different transcendental symptoms of a devotee who is in ecstasy. So actually there are different bhavas also, like anubhav, udbhav, then vyabhichari bhav, sanchari bhav. So these are different bhavas in the end. So there are many kind, I'm just enumerating very few. So anubhav is what? Attitude where one exhibits their feeling and emotions, such as like dancing, singing, yawning. Sometimes devotee breathes very heavily. So these are the different symptoms in a devotee for anubhav. And udbhasva is external feature exhibited by the bodies of the devotee. Then there is vyabhichari bhav. In vyabhichari bhav, there are 33 different symptoms. Primarily, it involves words uttered by the devotee. He utters so many different words and different bodily features. It's very hard sometimes to hear that devotee, who are in Vyabhichari Bhav, because we cannot understand what he's saying, but he is in deep trance actually, in deep ecstasy of Krishna's love. And there is Sanchari Bhav, which is combination of the different bodily features and also the Vyabhichari symptoms. So these are the different stages of Bhava, in the Bhava stage. There are other symptoms of the person who is in the bhav, like forgetful, forgiveness, and there is detached from all the material things, and he is too much advanced in the devotional service. Absence of false pride, false prestige, one should not think, that I'm rich, I'm this, I'm that, all those things, which we have. So in the devotees, there is no pride at all, no in false prestige or anything. And hope, there is a lot of hope on Lord Krishna, they are never hopeless. They have so much hope that Krishna will be merciful to me one day and I will get his mercy. And there is so much eagerness also. Devotional service is not something people do like inactively, it's very active service. So devotees are always eager, very eager to receive Krishna. And a taste of chanting of the holy name. So they chant holy name with great love, not just let me finish my 16 rounds and hang the japa beat in the corner, so on the door handle or something. So that's not the way. We should have that desire to chant more and more. Like in the old age also, if we are chanting 16 round, which is minimum, that's not good for us. Actually, we should slowly increase. That's a positive symptom, and we have to have taste for it. That's very important. So sometimes the characteristic symptoms which are exhibited by a pure devotee, sometimes they laugh, sometimes they cry. This is the symptoms of bhav actually, who people who are in that, because they laugh, they cry. So, and it's very, people may think, he's getting crazy. He's not crazy. He's crazy for Krishna. Yeah, he's not crazy for the material things. So sometimes, we may misunderstand that devotee, that what kind of symptom he is showing, So this is the isthai bhav, actually. In other words, his attachment to Krishna is permanent. So there are, as we discussed, there are 8 different symptoms of ecstatic love: becoming stunned, perspiration, standing hair on the body, faltering of the voice chokes, and trembling of the body, changing the body color, and shedding of tears. So these are different kind of symptoms, 8 symptoms of the ecstatic. So we will now, it's very nectarian thing, different examples actually of these all 8 symptoms, Ashta Sattvic Vichar. So we will see some examples from Krishna book and Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, that how in the Krishna's life, Krishna's Leelas, we can see how these symptoms were actually shown. And that way we can remember how these bhavas are. So sometimes symptoms of stun is caused by the tribulation. Sometimes they are due to different reason, anger and different things. So from the static tribulation and fearfulness, lamentation and anger, so these are the different things that can cause the stun. So this symptom is how it is exhibited in devotee's body, like we stop talking, like Vidurji in this verse, which we are reading today. He stopped talking for a more than 48 hours, 48 minutes. So, and he was not talking. Stoppage of movement, all the bodily movement is stopped, and feeling of the wideness, and also an extra feeling of separation from Krishna. So these were symptoms depicted by the Uddhavji in front of the Vidur. So when Uddhav was describing Krishna's pastime to Vidur, what Vidurji was telling, one day the gopis became stunned when Krishna one time came in the dress of a gardener, and then he actually entered the greenhouse, and there were so many gopis. So he were joking with them and laughing with them. But at that time, after that, when Krishna left the greenhouse, the gopis were seeing Krishna constantly, and they became so ecstatic that it was though both of their minds and eyes were following, still like Krishna left, but still they were following Krishna, when he was getting back, and they became completely stunted. So this description comes in Krishna book. Also, there is another example where stunt took place. One time when Krishna was surrounded by, in the Mathura, we know Krishna, like Akrurji came and he took Krishna to Kansa's place, Mathura, and there, when Mother Devaki actually saw that Krishna and Balram, they were so tiny, the 11-year-old kids, so how they will fight with these big, gigantic wrestlers, Mustik and Chanur. So when Mother Devaki saw them, she became completely stunted that how my little children will fight with these giants. So that's the way the mother takes care of child, and she became completely stunted. She came in the bhav. Also, we know another example from Krishna book is Brahma Vimohan Leela, when Brahmaji got bewildered that how Krishna is playing with these cowherd boys and eating their food, from their plate, and they were throwing the milk, the buttermilk from one mouth to other mouth like that, So he saw that this cannot be Krishna, because Krishna who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he cannot play like this. So that's why he stole the cows and everything, cows and cowherd boys and calves, and he took and hid them in a cave. But then Brahmaji, after he hid them, he returned back, but he saw that Krishna is as usual. All the cows are there, all the calves are there, all the cowherd boys are there. So he got completely stunted. So this is the example of stunt, how in surprise, sometimes this stunt can cause by the lamentation, which is exemplified when Krishna was entering the belly of the Bakasur. When Krishna went in the belly of Bakasur demon, all the Brajavasis, and also demigods were looking them from the sky. So when demigods were looking from the sky, then what happened? Brahmaji actually, demigods actually were so much worried about Krishna and all these friends, because they were already in the belly of Bakasur, in the mouth of Bakasur. So they were stunted completely. The similar example of stunting is when Arjun was stunted completely, when Ashwatthama attempted to release the Brahmastra. So at Krishna, so we can imagine, what was the Arjun's condition. So these are the different examples from Krishna book about the stunted. Now we will go through the example of the perspiration. When the perspiration came in the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita about different devotees. So one gopir was addressing Radharani that, my dear Radharani, you are booking the sunshine unnecessary. But I can understand that you are perspiring only because you are becoming too lusty for seeing the Krishna's lotus feet. So see, this is, even the Radharani was having so much perspiration just by thinking about him. Perspiration also can cause by the fearfulness also. So we can see the Krishna servant who was Krishna's servant? Raktak. One time he saw Krishna dressed as Abhimanyu, and he didn't know that this is Krishna. he was thinking this is Abhimanyu. And then Abhimanyu, as we know, he was the husband of Radharani. Actually, Abhimanyu was like part and parcel of Krishna. Actually, it was the other body of Krishna. Actually, so Abhimanyu was no different person, but he was dressed like Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was one of the cowherd boy. So Abhimanyu did not, because Abhimanyu used to think, that his wife Radharani should not actually associate with Krishna, and he was against that. And when Raktak, Lord's servant, saw Krishna in the dress of Abhimanyu, so he misunderstood and he rebuked him. He didn't know that this is my master Krishna. He rebuked that why you are here and why you are doing this and this. So that way Abhimanyu actually came into perspiration. Another perspiration, another time we can see the example of Garudji, because sometimes perspiration can come due to anger also. Garudji is the eagle. We know that he is the Vahan for Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu is the heavenly king. So actually, one time Garudji was observing the incidents from above the cloud, that how Indra was praying to Krishna, and how Indra had. So because of his anger, he began perspiring, because he was observing, and then Garudji started perspiring. Now, other thing is standing up on the hair. Now, it's very little time left, so I will just give one example, not many examples, because of shortage of time. There are so many nice examples in the Bhagavatam and Krishna book about the different symptoms of how the symptoms come manifest in the body of the so many devotees. So how the hairs stand on the body, like we can see the example of Yashoda Maya, who one time Krishna showed him the mouth of Krishna, because he said that you ate the dirt, matti. So that's why he when she was seeing his mouth, and she saw whole universe in the body of Krishna, and she asked Krishna to open his mouth, and when Krishna widened his mouth, at that time she saw everything, including herself, in the mouth of Krishna. So she got her hairs stand on her body. And other symptom is fault and choking the voice. So we know that what happened, Akrura was bringing Krishna and Balram from Vrindavan to Mathura. So when he was taking the bath in Yamuna, he stopped his chariot under the tree, and Krishna and Balram sitting on the chariot. So he said, I will just go and take bath in the Yamuna and come back. So he went. When he saw Krishna and Balram, when he was in the water, he saw in the water Krishna and Balram there. So then he came out and he saw that Krishna and Balram is sitting on the chariot also. At that time, he came to Krishna and his voice was completely choked. So this is the example of the extending the hair and trembling. When Krishna was trying to capture the Sankachur demon, at that time Radharani saw that and she started trembling out of fearness that what will happen to my Krishna. So similar trembling was shown by such Sahadev, which is the brother of Nakul. Nakul is one of the Pandav. When Shishupal was actually blaspheming the Krishna and giving so many different bad names, so Sahadev actually start beginning trembling. Then I will give some examples of changing the body color. So sometime devotees, due to great agreement caused by dealings of Krishna, body changes color. So the gopis, his dealings were gopis were very confidential. So they are saying to Krishna, my dear Krishna, due to separation from you, all the citizens of Vrindavan have changed their color. And because of this change of color, even the great sage Narada was thinking of Vrindavan as a white island in the ocean of milk. So Naraji one time has explained Vrindavan as Vrindavan is a white island in the ocean of milk. So why he's saying like that? Because all the gopis, in the separation of Krishna, changed their body color. And the example of tearing, which is one of the symptoms of ecstasy, it can come out of jubilation or anger or separation. And there may be pouring down of tears from the eyes. And these tears can be cold or very hot. Hot tears comes when person is in anger, and cold tears comes when he is in ecstasy and separation from Krishna. So when Lotus Eye Rukmini, first queen of Krishna, which was shedding tear out of ecstatic jubilation, she did not like the tears, that my tears should not come, because she was in great love. So there was a passage in the Hari once. One time Satyabhama also began to shed tears because her great affection for the Krishna. So these queens of Krishna were actually shedding the tears in happiness also. And Rukmini also shed tears in lamentation also, which is described there in the chapter 68. And the last symptom is devastation. When a person is confused by simultaneous happiness and tribulation, because sometimes they come together, happiness and tribulation, and does not know at that time, because they get confused, they do not know what can be done at this time. So this stage of confusion is called a pralay or devastation. So these are the different examples of devastation. But these ecstatic symptoms actually cannot be checked. We cannot try to hold them. They will come automatically. And they can come in different simultaneous category. 4 or 5 different symptoms can come in one person. So this is actually stage of ecstatic love. And Naraji actually saw Lord Krishna standing before him. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj also saw Krishna in front of him. Then at that time, they showed all the symptoms of this ecstasy. So I will end here actually, because there is only 5 minutes left now. And if somebody has any question, comments. So in our old age, actually, we should chant more and more and give up the material attachment slowly. We should start reading Prabhupada's books more and more, start hearing more and more, and all the material activity should be getting less and less. So we should know that there is no retirement in bhakti. Because as I told, the material activities are done on the level of the body, but the spiritual activities are done on the level of soul. And soul is eternal. Soul never gets old. So those activities also, which are done by the soul, should never be reduced actually. So we should increase more bhakti in the old age. Otherwise, we will be in the cycle of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi all the time. We will never get out of that. So we can see example of Srila Prabhupada, that how even at the age of 70, he was doing devotional service and trying to spread this movement on the order of his Guru Maharaj. So we can see, rather than curtailing his devotional activity, that I'm old now, I should not do this, I should not do. He was traveling constantly, translating constantly. So actually, that's why we have so much respect for Srila Prabhupada, that what he did for us, he given us everything, all what we had to do, everything he explained in his books, and he has given everything, all the process, all the Mangal Arati morning programs and everything. So what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended, the 5 processes of bhakti, all this, even we attend morning program, it has them all. But one thing is like we cannot be in the Mathura all the time. He says Dham was everybody cannot do, but Prabhupada said that anywhere devotees does, especially in these temples, if you live there or go there time to time, then actually it's just like living in the dham. So there is no difference. So if we attend morning programs in the temple, then we are fulfilling all those 5 things, which are important in our bhakti. So as soon as we get service opportunity, devotee should get very excited. And this is sign of advanced devotee, that he gets so much and he wants to perform more and more service to Krishna. So these are the different symptoms of devotees who are in ecstasy. And I pray to all the devotees that please bless me so I can have my Indian yatra and come back soon after couple months and see you all again. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Please pray for me. If somebody has any question, comments, please, we can discuss it now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. That was very inspiring. We always hear that Krishna is absolute. So everything about Krishna is, like how we say Krishna is in his name also. And sometimes that is difficult to understand. It sounds so abstract. But today you gave so many examples. And this purport saying that when Uddhava is thinking about his feet, he's feeling Krishna's presence. Hopefully we will all be able to internalize that message. And the other thing was, how you said, and this is so inspiring, you really, really wanted to go and you were, couldn't make plans or were not able to make it happen, but then it just materializes. Krishna makes it happen. Your desire was strong. Krishna heard that desire. And that is very, very inspiring to hear. So there are a few desires that I have also. I'll just have to remember that it will happen if I pray, if I desire it hard
Definitely.
enough, that Krishna will make it happen. And that is very, very inspiring. Thank you for sharing all those examples. We hear it, we hear that these are the symptoms, but to hear and make that connection of where these were demonstrated and what was important is to have that surrender, and we should all try to surrender to that extent. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And yes, please go safely on this yatra. Enjoy every minute, internalize everything. And when you come back, whoever goes on Tirth Yatra, we will touch their feet, and, that will give us the benefit of that yatra. So when you come back, we will definitely hear from you all your experiences from the yatra.
Definitely, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Please pray for me.
Absolutely, Prabhu. Absolutely. Krishna willing, everything will go well. If anybody has any realizations, comments, please unmute yourself and go ahead. I think everybody is going to pray and desire for their desires to materialize. So thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patinānām pāvanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namo.
Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
We are
Hare
not
Krishna.
able to come out of the class, Prabhu. That is the thinking about Krishna and whatever you said. All those things makes us take us there.
Thank you, Mataji. That's very good, actually. Good symptom that you are a great devotee. So
No.
that's Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.